Hello there everyone, welcome back to another video about the One Piece card game. I'm continuing my coverage of OP03, Pillars of Strength, with another deck profile. Today I'm going to be talking about Doflamingo, but before I get started I want to say a couple of things. Firstly, 70% of you are not subscribed to the channel. It's actually 69%, but you know, we won't go there. So if you could change that by hitting that button, I'd really appreciate it, and of course like the video if you enjoy it. Secondly, I make competitively focused guides and content over on my Patreon. You can find that linked in the description. I appreciate all the support there. It does help fund, you know, improving my tech and stuff. I'm still paying off the new camera, so I'd appreciate it if you could help me out there. But there we go, that's the shilling out of the way. Let's go ahead and jump into this deck profile. I'll keep it short, snappy, and sweet. What are we cooking today? Well, it's Doflamingo, and this is a OG leader if you've been playing the game since set 1. This is one that's been very, very popular, especially in the West. A very powerful leader effect, where you pay 1 with 2 Don attached on attack, so look at the top card of your deck. Reveal rather, and if it's a cost 4 or lower Shichibukai, you get to play it. This is a very powerful effect to just spam the board out. It gives you, you know, constant just board building presence, and as the game is looking to, you know, slow down a bit moving into OP04, but also in OP03 to still to be in this sort of weird position where it's less aggro, but it's still fairly fast, but it's like, you know, more of this sort of mid-rangey kind of thing where you're building up a sort of more like 3 to 5 cost kind of board. Those are more popular, of course, plus searches and stuff. Doffy, I think, is well positioned to, you know, do some damage. So let's talk about the cards you're playing. I'm playing 4 copies of Kaya. This is a 2k counter, and that's the main reason you're playing it. But it is also something you can play to just filter in a pinch, right? Like if your hand is super bricked and you just want to potentially unbrick it, Kaya is a great option. You can also bounce it back to hand with things like Overheat. Not that we're playing it in this list, but that's like a potential synergy that if you wanted to play Overheat, you could include. And by no means is this an ideal list at all. This is literally just a suggestion from where to build off from. 3 copies of Trafalgar Law. The difficulty with playing chump blockers in the OP03 is 5-cost Marco is running around, and 5-cost Marco is most likely going to ruin your day, so that's just something you want to be aware of. Your blockers you might want to use your blockers sooner rather than later. Perona at 4, this is a very important card because this is turn 1. If you go first, this lets you stack your deck, choose your next draw for turn, and lets you use Doffy's ability almost immediately. Very, very, very high value card. 2 copies of Alvida. Again, mainly it's because it's a 2k counter, but this does have some nice synergy, but this has some nice interactions into the meta because of how many early game units red tends to play and how red's like the main threat in the meta. This is a nice option to just sort of delay the aggro. 4 copies of the 3-cost Doffy. Again, this is a phenomenally powerful card in this deck. It lets you stack the top of your deck. It's a blocker. It's outside Marco range, so they need to combo with some sort of power reduction to remove it. Therefore, this is a really, really good blocker. This is one of the best blockers in the game for sure. 1 copy of Sentomaru. Sentomaru searches out your pacifistas. Usually, you don't really want... You don't want to see more than 1 because it's just at that point it's sort of be something you throw away and discard, but it's a very, very powerful card because this can potentially, if you see this early, every single turn just go like pacifista, pacifista, pacifista. That's very, very valuable in being able to contest the very stat heavy boards we see nowadays, and just being able to plus to board that level at that level is phenomenally powerful. You want to avoid attacking with the card, FYI. 3 copies of Bartholomew Kuma. This is a blocker, 5k blocker, so very, very valuable for that reason, but on KO it lets you spit out a pacifista, which is very, very good. And again, with the amount of deck manipulation you can do here, you can kind of guarantee you've got a pacifista a good chunk of the time. 4 copies of Burr Hancock remains one of, if not the best blue SRs, blue cards to this day, just super high value. On block or on attack, draw a card, and it's a blocker. Really, really powerful card. 4 copies of Gecko Moria from the starter deck. Again, this is absolutely insane. Being able to salvage Shichibukai with 4 cost or lower. This lets you get back your 2k counters. This lets you get back your power cards. This lets you get back your cheap blockers. Really high value card. Probably the best to hit off a top search with top play with Doffy. 4 copies of Mihawk. This is a 2k counter with an on-attack ability with a Don to draw 2 and trash 2. Nice filter. You tend not to use that. This is generally speaking something you're using as a 2k counter, but obviously if you play it off a top check with Doffy, you're never mad. Usually it's quite a high value target for your opponent to go to. 4 copies of Vanilla Gecko Moria. This is probably your number 1 top hit, top search target. You really want to be hitting this card because it's just a 6k, very high value. 4 copies of Pacifista. We've already explained the synergy with this card. 1 copy of Doffy 7-drop. This is just you know, it's useful sometimes to be able to bounce those 7 costs or lower. Bouncing a 5 cost Marco can be very valuable, especially if you don't have anything on the board that they can remove with it. It's the best way to really remove outside of bot decking. 1 copy of 6-drop Mihawk. This is just a nice big statted vanilla. Very, very useful to use there. 3 copies of Mihawk. This bot deck 7 costs or lowers. Bot decking a Marco. Very, very nice. Bot decking, you know, 7 cost Luffy that green has, or all these sorts of high threat value cards. 7 cost Linden. Very, very, very nice. 1 copy of Gum Gum Rain. This is just good in a pinch to sort of unbrick your hand from something without counter, and to just give you like that little bit extra 3k counter. Just make sure that you are able to defend like a 7k swing. And then 3 copies of 3000 Worlds. This is phenomenally powerful, especially in this meta, because this is the #1 answer to a Marco. You just 3000 Worlds it, and then you push face. Really, really nice. So that is the list. Overall, if I had to give my sort of rating of this deck in the format, I think it's got potential. I think it generally does have that sort of nice matchup into the fact you're able to build that wide board, and you are able to contest Red's board on a fairly consistent basis. You are potentially quite weak to rush, is the only thing to say. Like, if your opponent is able to just keep pushing face like very aggressively, it can be a bit challenging. But this deck plays a high quantity of blockers, so you should be fine. I mean, it's 12 of them. Sorry, not 12 of them. It is 14 of them. But in addition to those 14, you also play 4 copies of a salvage to get them back. So you play a large quantity of blockers. So hopefully getting rushed down shouldn't be an issue for you. I highly recommend you give this deck a go if you want to be playing some Doffy in OP03. You can see it's basically an OP02 list, just with a few OP03 cards, but those ones really do help. I hope you guys found this video useful today. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more One Piece content, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Cheers.